Hello and welcome to Wally Bar and my continuation video using this wooden hand plane. It's like a very long jointed plane. Now when you consider this happens to be the number 7, that is considerably longer, as you can see. Yeah, it's even longer than a number 8. Yeah, it's quite impressive bit of wood. Anyway, it's made of cherry. Unfortunately, it's absolutely full of old woodworm. It's all dead, you know, if there's anything in there, it's dead. And it's going to have some TLC. But in the previous video, I showed you how I sharpened up, not just sharpen up, but alter and make it so the chip brake and the plain iron assembly all mounted together. And yeah, so it mounts and works in this plane, because it didn't before. I mean, it was so stupid. It was ridiculous, as you'd see in that previous video. Anyway, I just wanted to show you it in use. No, it hasn't got a tote. No, the tote happens to be here. I suppose I can pretend it's there, like so, but it's not there. So that will be going back on. It's going to need some TLC, just like the rest of it's going to need some TLC. I think I've come up with a solution regarding sorting out this woodworm. Originally, I was just going to put those cocktail sticks in it, so it looked like a porcupine, and clean them all off. But unfortunately, they look like little tunnels and stuff. If you look at that, you know, that ain't going to work. So I've got to come up with another method. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Cascamite powder as wood glue with a walnut dust in it, so it's dark. And then I'm going to literally cake all over this and work it into all the little holes and stuff. Maybe even with the airline a little bit as well, so it'll be a bit messy. And then spread it over the top. You've got to get rid of the air bubbles, you see. So hopefully then it will it's going to take 2 hits at least before it's got a good amount of effectively glue filler. But the thing about the Cascamite powder resin wood glue, like this one here, it's so hard. It's like it's quite it's that hard, but it's hard enough to sand and whatever. You can get a really good finish with it. So that's what I'm going to do over the top of that. Well, on all faces actually, including the ends, to create so we then have a resin-filled plain body. I'm also going to make sure I clean up all these corners, the arises, what have you. I might even put a little moulding around it and round the ends off of it. A bit more like, hang on, this one I buried earlier. If you look at this is one by Griffiths of Norwich. And it's just got this nice little aris taken off there. It has a stopped moulding just there. And it's just a nice thing. This was made of beech, but this is a common brand in the UK. And this was by Griffiths Norwich, and it's a really, really nice little plane, little jack plane. And it works so well, it really does. So hopefully I can get this one working so well. The plane iron itself seems to be fairly good now. That's the one that was in the other plane I just showed you a minute ago, which is a Ward cast steel. This one looks like it's been forged as well. And this is a Goldenberg, which I think is northern France. But it seems to have quite a nice edge on it. It needs a bit more work on the edge, but the steel seems to be quite decent. Anyway, I've placed it in there. As you see, it's not taking the shaving at the moment. No, okay? That's the stage, the state you want it in or the state you want it in before you start taking the shaving. Now, I ain't got a tote on, I ain't got nothing to hold on to. I'm just going to have to kind of like wing it, really. And it is a bit of a beast, isn't it? Although it's not that heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage the plane iron using my little 4 hammer. I think it's ideal for wooden hand planes. Don't use a metal hammer, unless it's brass or something like that, or aluminium. Don't use a steel hammer on that, because what happens is, you see, if I show you this one here, this used to be the chip brake of that plane. I had to cut it off, it was too long. It didn't make any sense, so I chopped it off, you see. But if you look on here where it's been hit with a hammer so many times, it's mushroomed. And that means the 2 surfaces of the plane iron and the actual chip brake, they won't marry up properly. They'll just have a big gap behind them, between them, so it ain't going to work. So anyway, so hopefully what we do now is we can engage the plane iron with the actual wood a little bit. So we've got to be a little bit gentle. Now, I've probably gone too far there, could have tapped it twice. Yeah, it's grabbing now. I don't want that. So I'll come back a bit by hitting on the tail, or the heel of the plane. And now I've got to tap the wedge in again because I've loosened it. So I feel it's grabbing. It feels like I'm taking too much of the shaving off now. But it's taking the shaving. So I'll tell you what, let's see if we take a shaving. This will be a thick shaving, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's a thick shaving. But it's taking the shaving. It's not that thick. And the beauty about this plane is, because it's so long, you'll true up your workpiece, because the distance between the plane iron and the toe of the plane is quite long. Yeah? and also the distance behind the plane iron, or the mouth of the plane, and the heel is also quite long. So, you know, providing you use it with a little bit of care, from end to end, your workpiece is going to be true. This is ideal if you want to chop the edge of, say, for instance, a string or some long boards for a tabletop or something. This is going to be ideal for that. Although generally I'd be using my number 7. I find that works really nicely. It's a good tool, that's why. So let's see if we can get a slight finished shaving out of that. So I'm going to tap it on the heel, okay? When you tap it on the heel or here, you'll loosen the actual plane iron. And it depends on your plane, depending on which place is more effective. I find this works quite well on the heel, just to draw the plane iron out. And now it's not engaging at all, okay? So then I just tap it down just gently until I can feel it start taking, it's grabbing, okay? Now, the other thing you've got to watch out for is that one side of the plane iron could be skewing one way or the other. To correct that, you go one way or the other with that, and then you tap the wedge in again. You must just tap the wedge every time you adjust the plane iron. Now, I've shown this before on previous, I think I've gone too far again, on previous videos on how to adjust a wooden hand plane. But I just want to show, oh hang on, that's all right, it's good. My point being is you can create shavings. They're a little bit juddery at the moment, so I've just probably got something to do with the chip breaker. Maybe I got the chip breaker too far away. So what's happening is if you look at your shavings, actually that wasn't too bad, but you can see that juddery there, that there, that'll be the chip breaker causing that. And it might be because it's just not curling the shaving as it should do. At that point it did, but there you see it's juddery. You don't want that because that'll jam up. So it probably needs a bit more work. So it's engaging. Remember, I haven't got no toe on this, no handle. So, which makes it a little bit tricky. I've got quite a bit of a camber on that plane iron, I think, because it's taking it from the middle and not the edges. So, if I look at that on top here, yeah, I think I've got too much camber on. I might need to change that a little bit. So it's taking a shave. I wouldn't say it's a nice shaving. It seems to be taking a shaving at the middle of the plane iron. So there's quite a bit of camber on the plane iron. That'd be the fact that's how I've sharpened it. So I've put too much camber on it. To be honest, I don't normally put a camber on a plane iron for a jointer. I usually do that with smoother. Even a number 4 or a number 5, you know, jack plane. Yeah, I think the plane iron needs a little bit more work. But I think it's worth playing with. If I don't drop it on the floor first. So there you go. I was about to put it down, I'll show you, really. So that's a shame to get out the sofa. That needs a bit more TLC, I think. I need a bit more work on the plane iron itself. And, yeah, I'm looking at it now. You can't see that, but if I use my fingernail and run along the edge of the plane iron, I can feel a couple of little nicks in it still. So I haven't managed to remove all the original damage to the plane iron, so I can feel it. I haven't damaged it or anything like that. There's a definite nick there, which won't help getting the shaving, because obviously you create a break in your shaving, and then that little bump will affect the actual engagement of the plane iron, because obviously effectively pushing plane away from your area. So I've got to make sure it's in good check. I could give it another go near the other edge. I won't use one side of the plane, which would be that side. So bring it a bit further over and see what we get then. Just got to scoot the plane on a little bit. I think it's better, but yeah, I think there needs a bit more work on that. So I'll do that. I'll do another little update, and also in another video we'll be trying to sort out this woodworm, so I can finish this off. And this one's cherry, this paper. Let's state of that. I don't want to leave it like that. No, tiddly. Oh, that must be my cue.